like mostly I'm starting like this because you're guys from all over the world, like around the world, literally, because 80 country. So we are happy to open our last session today and share our experience. You have guys had already 6 global mentorship program. Most of you already know me, but people who are just joined today, I'm Maya, this year global mentorship program leader. And I'm very happy to organize these volunteering activities. And next year, I'm more than sure that most of you will be here and it will be your turn. So let me share our screen and starting the summarize our sessions. So as you remember, we already had 6 meeting. For the first meeting, there was brilliant Natalia. I speak and share tips for you, and Heather. For the next session was Zung, Arm, Fain, Marlene, Pikria, Diane, Deepna, Mazia, Hanan, Michelle, Diane, Edwin, Tamuno, Bilkum, and Evangeline. And our today's speakers is also brilliant girls. Guys, go ahead and just introduce yourself. Which country are you from and your name? Go ahead.
So, hello everyone. My name is Yolanda Solano and I'm from Mexico.
Hi everyone. My name is Onkarabile Marumo and I am from South Africa.
Hi everyone. My name is Elaf Hussein. I am from Iraq.
So I just trying to also memorize for you that how diversity group we had and how many countries we were from. So guys, good luck. You already know that from the first part, our speakers shared them experience. And for the second step, you have opportunity to ask us question. And for today, because this is the last session, we will try to answer you back for all the question you have. And we can start officially. Go ahead, Gales. Yolanda, good luck and go ahead.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here with us today. First of all, my name is Yolanda. I'm from Mexico. Right now, I'm studying my master's in venture capital, private equity, and financial technology at UCL. And from my experience, this is the top 5 tips that I will like to give you guys. First of all, is all or nothing. If you already know what you want to do, not only for achieving, but to achieve on your field, you should do a very specific research on why your field, what your master, and why UK is the only place in the world that you need to be so you can succeed on what you want to do. And I'm saying this because in Mexico and in Latin America, we don't have anything related to venture capital. And in my master, I am the first Latin American and the first Mexican. This is something that I have to research in advance, totally. So when I went to the interview, at least for my financial background, I can give you the advice that you need to really take in consideration and bear in mind that you have to present some realistic data related to what you want to do. That means all or nothing, because if you hesitate during the interview, they might see that you are not quite sure. Even if you are, it can be like you are not sure about what you want to achieve. And so the next is related to the previous one. When I was speaking with my panel was composed by some people from the Mexican embassy. that are related to either economic or finance. So I recommend you guys that you present data. So for example, the reason why I wanted to study venture capital is because I have a foundation in Mexico to help children and young people with arthritis, lupus, and fibromyalgia, because I am a patient myself. So the reason why I wanted to become a Chevener is not only to have this platform, but also to learn how to evaluate these projects so I can bring new treatments.
You're on mute.
I have
Yolanda,
been on mute.
unmute yourself, please. Yes, please unmute
Have you been
yourself.
mute
Yeah,
all the
go
time?
ahead. No, no,
I have
no,
you.
no. Only last part. Only last part.
Okay. Okay.
Like
So
very two sentences ago. You have to go ahead. Sorry.
okay. So what I did is that I researched about the return on investments that the investors can have if they rather invest in healthcare sector. I also did the research of why lupus fibromyalgia and arthritis are considered disabilities here in the UK, whether in Mexico, fibromyalgia is not considered a disability. So I made a comparison between all of these things. So I present that data that was very specific to the panel. Even if they don't ask, that can make you feel like you really know and you really did a big research. Maybe don't try to memorize the numbers by heart if you don't want to, but you have to put like some comparison why it is important to come here to the UK. And the third part is that you have to be very, even if you have a program or you have more people in your country that want to be on that same field, you need to show that you are unique from the rest. And I can give you this example. My background is finance, but I have already worked in different sectors, such as technology, consulting, healthcare sector. I have been also executive assistant for some CEOs and directors. And I always bring my field to each of the roles that I have been involved. So for example, even if I'm an executive assistant, I try to assist the directors by doing financial statements or something that is related to my field. I think that is a very big mistake that we tend to believe that we can only connect with people that is in our field, medicine or social development or whatever. At the end of the day, Chevening community is to work together, and you need to learn from the other people. The fourth tip that I can give you is justify why your field is important to the world. So, to be very honest, at least in Mexico, uh, it was the first time that I applied, but every time I was told that Chevening is only for social fields, social development, lawyers. That is not true. In this cohort, we are only 3 people from economy, but I think that the main reason is that when you started to listen to that kind of comments, you limit yourself for applying, and it's not necessarily true. Like, we are 3. This year, I'm encouraging more people from finance economy to apply, because we need more of this, at least in my country and in Latin America. So justify why you want to study in the UK. And for example, I can give you the idea that in UCL, venture capital is a very unique program. My whole master is venture capital, private equity, and financial technology. We are the second generation, so they are trying to improve, and experts from different areas. Not only are our lectures, but every Wednesday we have the chance to pitch some ideas, to get information for real investors and real CEOs, in which we have to talk with them to know the tendencies of the sectors, etc. But what I'm trying to say is that there is not field that is more important than other. just justify why your field is unique, and you have to come here to study that. At least in venture capital, there is nothing. Only UCL is the only university in the world that has this very unique program. So that also helped me to develop the interview. And my recommendation is focus also in your first choice, maybe if of university, maybe if you want to change later, but don't waste your time. Since the moment that I knew that I wanted to apply for Chevening, I started to apply for UCL. So by the time I got shortlisted and I got the interview, I already have my acceptance letters. And that also helps you because they know, like, okay, you did research, you know what your field is unique, why you are unique, you have your acceptance letters, just please give me the chance. Like, if you give me the chance, it's the only thing that I need to go because I already have all of the things prepared. And that leads me to the final advice. The history that you tell has to be connected. All the points have to be connected. You cannot put leadership apart from networking, apart from UK, apart from the other thing is the three universities that you choose. And the reason why I created the history is because when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I realized that in Mexico we had to raise more awareness of autoimmune diseases that affect the joints in children and young people. I was 19 years old when that happened. I'm 30 now. And when you are diagnosed in a very young age, your self-esteem is damaged because you cannot do some things that the rest of the people can do. So, for example, I spent 1 year in a wheelchair while the doctors give me the correct treatment. And I get to know so many inspiring stories by children and young people. So I was like, how finance can help develop my country in this field. That's why I want to study venture capital, to raise money to help the people. And Chevening needs to know that you are passionate about what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you won the scholarship or not. You have a goal that you need to achieve, and that is the reason when you have higher possibilities to be selected. If they see your passion, if they see that you are really want to make a change, doesn't matter where. So thank you very much, and this is the advices that I can give you today.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. It was a very inspirated speech. And I was thinking like, okay, if I will be right now, could be right now the new applicants, I will definitely noted a lot of key points that you already mentioned. Thank you so much. I will change the slide. Onkarabile, go ahead, please.
Hi, everyone. So I am Onkarabile from South Africa, and I am at the University of East Anglia, and I'm doing my master's in global media economics. So I'm going to provide some tips, and I guess this is also just from my personal experience, and I think also from some conversations that I've had with people from previous cohorts and within this cohort of the scholarship itself. So just a little bit of background about myself. I actually applied for the scholarship twice. I got in the second time around, yay. So to anyone who is applying more than once and you've made it this far, you can give yourself a pat on the back. And I definitely think that sessions like this, please do take the advice to heart because they do really help in terms of like nailing that interview and making sure that you stand out. So the first thing is that I wrote down is be you. So in as much as I think we can all come here and give advice and give you tips and you can watch things on YouTube and there's all these kinds of questions and how you should answer them, one thing that the panelists want to see is you and your personality. They already have me and someone who answers like me and who wants to do exactly what I want to do because I am here. So you need to make sure that your goals, your vision is what you're bringing forward, and you're presenting that because you're already passionate. They've already seen that with your essays. So just make sure that when you're speaking from your perspective, and you're not trying to copy my answers or what you've seen on the internet or what you've heard from other people, because yes, that is all great advice, but just make sure you add and you sprinkle a little bit of your flavor into the mix as well, because they want to see who you are and what you can bring to the table, which is definitely going to be different from what they already have from us in previous cohorts. The second one is prepare examples. So, I mean, there's a plethora of questions that they can ask. There's a bunch of YouTube videos and mock interviews that are online that you can see and look at, and they will all explain questions and how to answer them. But prepare your questions and have something in mind, because we all have different experiences. So make sure that, you're just preparing your answers to certain questions. One thing that's also like a bit different is prepare for negative prone questions. So for example, prepare for questions like, when were you put in a leadership position and it didn't work out? When did you have a plan that you had to execute and it didn't work out? Talk about your weaknesses. Talk about situations where, it wasn't that great for you and what you learned from it and how you became a better person. Because at the end of the day, that shows that A, you're human, B, you're willing to learn from your mistakes, and C, you're willing to try again. So think about those things, because I received a question that was like, what did you do that led to you failing in a leadership position? And usually we think of all the good things. So just try and think about anything maybe that might have happened and didn't work out and what you learned from that. Also, try to get examples that are a little bit beyond what you wrote in your essays. So they've read your essays and they love you. But just think about other things that obviously you couldn't have added into your essays, for example, and just have that written down so that you can kind of bounce off of that and add that as an extra example so that they can see that, okay, you are more than just what you wrote down in your essays. And lastly, be flexible. So don't necessarily think of your answers fit in one box. So if you have a leadership example, don't necessarily think, okay, if they're not asking me anything about leadership, I can't use this specific answer. Let it be fluid. Think about that answer as how can that fit in your career, your future goals, networking, because they all flow into each other. So don't box your answers and then you're just like, I didn't have an answer for this specific question, where actually you do. And just think about your experiences from a holistic perspective. Another point is think about yourself in the UK. So your university, where you're going to be staying, and what your course is about, and how they all interlink. For example, a part of my panelist, I had an alumni from the University of East Anglia, and I wanted to go to the University of East Anglia, and that was my first choice. And she was literally asking me questions about the university, and I couldn't lie because obviously she's gone to that university. So just make sure you know the university, you know the culture, and you know what you want to do beyond academics, right? So whether it's play a sport, join a society, volunteer, find out what your university is doing within the town and the city that it's situated in, and where you would fit in that space. And also have a plan as to what you want to do beyond academics when you're in the UK, and add that to the mix. Because I was asked, like, okay, so what are you going to do when you're in the UK? And my first answer was, beyond academics, I am going to go to every single concert that I can think of, and festivals and theatre shows, because that's what I love. Back in South Africa, not a lot of international artists come to South Africa when they go on tour. So I'm going to take this opportunity to go and see all my favorite artists and learn even more about artists that are local. And my university is a university that also, for example, hosts a lot of concerts and shows. So therefore, I will use that opportunity to go there. So think about things that, are beyond the books, the academics, and your dreams, and how that aligns, and just what you are as a person and what you'll be doing and what you love to do. And that also relates to what you like about the UK. What about the UK are you going to learn and explore? Are you going to museums? Are you going to festivals? Are you learning? Like, what is it about the UK that you are attracted to as a country? Because yes, the degree is here, the scholarship is here, but they also want to know, is there something about the UK that you love, or are you just going here because the scholarship is based in the UK? The next one is ask questions. So this one becomes a little tricky because you want to ask questions that show interest, and you also want to make sure that you're not asking questions that the answer exists. So for example, don't ask, when am I going to get feedback from you guys? Because firstly, they'll probably tell you within the interview. And secondly, if you're asking a question like that, it shows that you haven't read what's on the internet. Because, for example, the timeline is already available on the Chevening website for you to know when you'll get feedback, when these things are supposed to be submitted. So if you're asking those kind of questions, it kind of shows that you haven't been reading the actual website itself. So ask questions about how, what makes you stand out and how you and your goals can contribute to the Chevening Foundation as a whole. Think about things that you can do, ideas that you might have, and ask those kind of questions, not necessarily things that if you go on the website and ask about deadlines and timelines that you would find. And last but not least is basically focus on deadlines, right? So there are deadlines and there's a lot of them, and some of them are weird, and the crunch time is also a little weird. So make sure you're reading what is on the website. Make sure that when you receive an email, you read what is in the email. And make sure you stick to the deadlines, and also have a look at the time frame. So for example, there'll be a deadline that says they expect you to submit this form by 12 p.m. UK time. So don't think it's 12 p.m. your time and then you miss it. Make sure you look at the details because, for example, in our cohort in South Africa, they chose about 50 potential students. And out of that 50, 32 made it to the UK. So that means there's a 20 odd students that missed out on the opportunity. And this was fundamentally based on them missing deadlines, not filling out forms correctly, not responding to emails on time. And they missed out on this opportunity, not because of something big or they didn't get into a university or anything like that, literally because they didn't respond to emails as due to the deadline. So that is something that can cause you to miss out on this opportunity. So make sure you are reading your emails. And last but not least is also watch for your approach. So this is basically how you respond to emails. If you receive an email that says, please fill out these forms, for example, that need to be submitted, don't just fill out the form and then respond and attach you. Respond with some decorum. Good day. I hope I hope you are well. Please find attached, because it's small things like that that also show that like you have some form of etiquette. And for example, if you're reaching out to anyone else, for example, also like I've left my details there at the bottom, so please reach out. I'm willing to have a chat with anyone. My LinkedIn is there as well as my Instagram. Don't just send me a message and be like, what was your interview like? Just say hi, give me some background. And I think this goes for just like everyone. Just say hi, this is my name. I just want to know about 1, 2, and 3, because then it just makes people more open and willing to speak to you, unless you're just, sending something and there's an attachment to someone's email and they don't really know what it's about. Otherwise, that's pretty much a summary of some of the tips that I have got. And I think the rest of the questions we will answer in the Q&A. But yeah, all the best to everyone, and off to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Onkarabile. It was amazing speech and inspired me. I just want to emphasize that, guys, most of you are part of the Global Mentorship Program. So mostly every day I'm sending you the email. So where I am written down that do not reply for the email. So this is kind of practice for you guys to do not reply. Or maybe from the very beginning, I said that deadline. I sent you, all of you, the link where you have to fill it out, the form. And after that, I separately make the groups. So most of you unfortunately skip this step. And after we starting preparation, you starting to texted me private messages like, oh, can I get the filled out because I already missed. So, and then I also sent you the reminder. So this is the last call you have filled out. So I made this action and approaches because here, especially when you will be the Chevening scholar, you really need this practice. So this is kind of like opportunity for you to starting the preparation from the very beginning. Thank you so much. And Elaf, go ahead. I'll change the slide for you.
Okay, thank you. First, the opinions that I will say, it depends on my personal experience, because we all as achievers, everyone has its individual experience, and so I will talk about my personal experience first. My field is an environmental field. So when I started to prepare for the interview, I started to search about the environmental policies in the UK. I used the UK government website. I highly recommend that you should go and use this website for the preparation, because you will get a lot of insights about everything related to the UK, the policies in environmental, education sector, health sector, every sector that you want. It's you can find documentation regarding the subject that you want. So I highly recommend that you should check this website and get some statistics, some policies that you can illustrate why you choose UK. So try to prepare very well and search, and everything is available online actually. So just search and find the accurate information to make you stand out in the interview. The second thing that I will advise to prepare for the interview is the Chevening website. The Chevening website is very easy. It has so many like informations that if you that you want to look for, uh, a lot of stories and articles for past alumni you will find in that website. So I highly recommend that you should check the Chevening websites, the Chevening articles while you are prepared. The third thing that I will advise you, that the Chevening liked you. Okay, when they check your application, it means they liked you. The interview, they want to meet you. So don't be stressed. I know being stressed is normal, but be confident that you are like, when you are shortlisted to Chevening, this means something. This means that you want to meet you. So you have to take this chance, and don't take this chance for granted. You have to work hard and prepare and make it or break it for this chance, because so if God forbidden you will not get this scholarship, you will not feel regret, because you worked so hard while you preparing for this interview. And for me, it's my first time applying for Chevening, and I got it from the first time because honestly, I prepared very well. I did my research very well. I participated in monitoring sessions like this. So it feels amazing, like that last year I was like an applicant, and now I'm doing these sessions. So it's really amazing. The advice that I will tell you, that prepare very well for the interview. While you prepare for the interview, you can make like a small gestures or small steps, maybe to enhance your confidence. Like for example, record yourself. I know it sounds simple, but just maybe record yourself. When you listen to yourself, you can criticize yourself and make your answers more unique. So do mock interviews, do a lot of mock interviews will be benefit to you. Maybe do like for a mock interview with alumni or an applicant from another country. This will make you like practice more and be confident and ace your interview. If you didn't able to find anyone to do mock interview, you can just record yourself. And don't memorize. Please don't memorize. It's not an exam. It's an interview. So if you memorize, maybe if you will got something, you will feel nervous and you will like be stressed, and it will show. So be normal. Don't memorize, but prepare very well, because preparation is the key and practice is the key. Be confident, work on your body language, work on your eye contact with the panel, try to smile. So these like many details matter during the interview. It will help you to break the ice also with the panel and make your stress level reduced. Now I will talk about the main aspects of the interview. After you introduce yourself, you will talk about like the main aspects, for example, the leadership, the networking, the study in the UK. The leadership, you can talk about your examples that you mentioned in the essay, or you can talk about a new examples. It's okay. And for the networking part, you have to know how you be like a part of the Chevening network. We all know Chevening, it's a part of network, and this what makes Chevening stand out from other scholarships. You can like you have to show them how you will be a part of this major network. You have to show them how you will increase your network in the UK. In the UK, you can increase network with the university, with the community, with the Chevening community as well. So you have to illustrate all these important points. For example, like be unique, as my fellow Chevener said. You can search about the Chevening events in the website. Like I said, you can find everything in the Chevening website. You can search about specific events that you want to participate, because like for example volunteering events or traveling events, or you can also host an event. Like you can approach your idea and how you will participate in this network. For example, I have a friend. She suggests that she will host a culture event related to her culture. So you can put that on the table and how you will participate in the Chevening network. For the university network, you can search, like for example, the student union societies, the student union activities, the course that you will study. You can check the events that will be done in that department. So be specific. When you be specific, the panel will say, okay, he did his homework right. They will like that, trust me. And you can also, Chevening is not just looking for just a student sitting in their home doing their assignments. No, they want you to be a part of the UK community. So you have to illustrate uh, the events that you will like in the UK, the social culture that you want to like be a part of it, the places that you want to visit. Myself, I'm a really big fan of Game of Thrones. So I told them that I want to visit the locations that the Game of Thrones been filmed. This small details make them smile. I mentioned the places that the Game of Thrones been filmed. Also, I like art. I like museums. I mentioned specific artists that I want to see them. I mentioned specific museums that I want to attend. So this make you also stand out, that you don't you want to be like not just okay studying and doing assignment. No, you will be active in the UK community and the UK society. For the universities study in the UK, you can talk about the education system in the UK. You can talk about what these courses offer you, what this university is offering you, and you can find this information, like I said, easily. For example, on the university website, you can change your university courses. It's not something like will give a bad or negative feedback to you. Some of the shortlisted applicants, they asked me a lot about changing their university courses. I think according to my personal experience, you can change your university courses easily. Don't be stressed about that. And if you rejected from the universities that you listed in your application, you can change that easily. It's not something that you should stick with your application. No, you can change that and you can provide justification as long as this course will not affect your career plan. Okay, you can talk about specific modules, a specific outcome, but put in your mind that the university choice, if you change the university choice, will not affect your career plan. Why the UK? I'll illustrate why the UK. You can find a lot of something like personal related to you. Like for example, like my fellow entrepreneur, she said she want to be in sponsors. In my case, I said that I want to be in that specific place because Game of Thrones filmed in that. You can talk about like personal things that you are desire because this make you stand out. Also, these details is matter. And also, like for example, in the introduction, when you introduce yourself, you can, like in the end, after you introduce yourself in a formal way, you can mention your hobby. This will help you also. This is sounds like something like very small detail, but this will break the ice. For example, in my case, I mentioned my hobby like drawing, and one of the panelists, he loves to draw a lot, so we exchanged topics about artists and drawing. So it was really helped me to reduce my stress level, because the Chevening interview is my third interview in my life. Imagine, because like I get my job from the first interview, so I'm not used to the interview atmosphere, you know. So this helped me, this many detail helped me to reduce my stress level. Show you're confident. You can show confident like by like I said, make eye contact, smile, work on your body language. This will help you a lot to stand out also. Prepare a question for the panel. This is very important point. Show them that you care, but please don't ask them a question that the answers exist in the website. So you have to prepare like a unique question. This tip is very, like, I think it's very useful because it show them that you did your research and you care to know more details about a specific topic. So prepare a question to the panel. In the end, they will ask you, do you have any questions for us? Prepare like a question for them. Show them that you care. This is my tips according to my personal experience. And yeah, let's go to your questions, guys.
Thank you so much, Elaf. It was very interesting. And guys, as three of the speakers mentioned, we just share our personal experience. You don't need to follow all of the tips, but you have to choose the specifically approaches which is work for you, okay? But all of the experience is okay because we are here. It's been that it's work. So just make a note. Go ahead. Today I will add all the session on our YouTube channel, so you can get back and watching all the videos and make the notes, the points which all the speaker repeated, because this is the important. You have to follow the key points which all the speakers already repeat, because this is it's make that it's work. We are here. So yeah, let's start with your favorite question answer time. Just one more sentence. I don't know if you see, in my background is my university. So people who are coming in University of Glasgow, I made this special view for you because to give you for the last session motivation to be here next year and show me for the next sessions that you also are here. And let's start. I already see the raising hands. So Farisi, I don't know if I pronounce your name correctly. Go ahead. You are first in my list.
Thank you. My name is Farise, and I appreciate all the insights that you guys shared. I have one question. So it's about my university choices. So I don't want to change my universities, but I only want to change the order of my universities. So is it recommended that I do it during the interview, or should I wait and do it if I get selected for the scholarship? What would you recommend? Thank you.
Can I answer?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. The ranking will not affect anyway, to be honest, because once you get selected, they will send you an initial final award letter. Like in this final award letter, you will be the scholarship will be for your first choice. You can send them an email and reply to them and choose another university. So I don't think this will affect, and you can just stick with your ranking, and you can choose the university that you want after you have been chosen.
Okay, thank you so much. Do they accept a change at a later stage? Like, is it accepted if I just email them at the end?
Yeah, they will send you an email with the final award letter. This final award letter mentioned your first university choices, your first university choice, sorry, and after that you can reply to them and tell them, no, I want, for example, the second choice or the third choice. And this has happened to me. I sent them and I
All right.
wanted my.
Thank you so much, love. That makes it very clear. Thank you.
Don't go ahead directly question, please, because we are time limited and we will answer all the question today. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My first question goes to Yolanda. She mentioned that in our cohort, only three people came, only three people who just are doing economics were selected. I want to ask if she wants to mean three people from her country or the whole like
It's
2022 cohort.
it's three people from my cohort in Mexico. We are 39 currently. We are only three. I'm the only one in finance. Two other guys from economy, and the rest are lawyers. Most of them.
Oh, okay, thank you. And now my other question goes to Maya. I've been seeing like since these sessions started, I have tried to follow all of the sessions, but I've seen like most of the presenters are only ladies. Does she even have an approach like to ensure that gender equality is respected when selecting applicants? Or like I didn't see many boys here. Just I'm curious to know. Thank you.
It's a very funny question because I want to mention from Georgia this year we are 50 and all of us we are girls. So it's not any specific reason because Chevening don't make such a approaches. I think we 15 of us we were unique. They saw us some story. They saw us that our story was like deserved to be here. And for this special particular session, I just posted in our global mentorship chat that I'm organizing the volunteering activities. And here you see just people who reply me and we organize this. I'm not choosing people for by gender, of course. I'm studying inclusive education and I follow the inclusive environmental. So Dionisa, go ahead.
Dionisia, you said, right? Oh, yes, thank you very much. So my question is along the lines of changing the university or the order during the interview. I wonder how it actually works. So he said like you fill out a form, mine is going to be held online. So he said that you try to tell them the name and then they write the name or you send them through the chat. Like how does it actually work? Because I don't want to make that time uncomfortable, like with confusion or things like that. Thank you very much.
Can I answer this question because okay, Onkarabile, go ahead. I also had the same online interview. Onkarabile, go ahead.
So I had an online interview as well, and my panelist asked me, like, I think it was the second question they asked me just to make sure that is my order of universities and degrees, has anything changed? And for me, it was a no. But they were like, if anything does change, I should just obviously write them an email. And like one of my fellow achievers said, so if it happens after the interview, write an email and tell them what the rankings or what the order is that you are changing it to and what you would like it and why you would like that to happen. In the interview itself, they will guide you. So basically you will say, yes, I would like to change my order. And then they will ask you like, okay, tell us what is now the new change. And then after your interview, I would recommend that you send an email through to the coordinator who will be corresponding and communicating with you, and just send them an email and say, as per our interview, I just wanted to confirm that these are my changes, and then you list them in the order that you want to change them to, just so that they have it in writing. And then you should also be able to change it, I think, on the portal if there is a change. So just make sure you have it in writing, and also just ask them in the interview if you should write it in the chat or send an email, because everyone kind of does things differently.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm pretty sure this is very important. So you guys keep talking about an email. So how do we get that email? And like in the interview, they give you an email that you can contact them, because I wouldn't know what email to contact them through.
Yeah, like after you may like book the slot, you receive from your country's embassy email that when is your interview, who is your panel, and this personnel like responsible for your like she's the communication person.
Thank
But
you
I
very
want
much.
to add also, I had experience to change the university during my interview session, and my interview was online. So the panelist asked me if I, but no, I was not waiting for them to ask me if I changed the university, because when they asked me why United Kingdom, so I emphasized this part when I was talking about university, and I mentioned that I wanted to change my third option, and I also give them proof why I wanted to change. And end of the conversation, when I finished this story, the panelist asked me, can you please repeat which kind of university you want to go, which particular course, and which ranked university you want to change. So, but please keep in your mind what Onkarabile said and send them email, because end of the story, in my personal experience, they forgot that I changed the university. So I just had come here from my first choice university.
Yes, thank you to both. Thank you very much.
Camila, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. So my question is like more personal about my essay. I write in my essay about a job before when I was working there, but I didn't uh, go there more anymore. Like I don't work there anymore. So maybe it is a problem in the interview, or how could I don't know, like um support in that. I don't know if you understand me.
Did you find another job?
One more time.
Okay, so I like 1 month ago I was working in a job, and I wrote about that in my essay. But uh, actually, like now I am not working there anymore. I think maybe it is a problem in my interview, or how can I respond if they ask me about that job.
Did you find another job?
No. I am entrepreneur. Like I am working on my own enterprise.
Okay. Do you have justification why you left them?
Can you repeat, please?
Do you have justification why you left them?
Oh, yes, but I think that is not really good
I think you
answer.
don't need to mention about this, that you quit job.
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't mention that you left.
Yeah, it's like you will definitely have a lot of following questions. So they don't know that you quit job. So you don't need to mention about this. Just talking about what you written in your essay and follow the essay that you, because your essay was good since you are in this stage. So it's mean that you don't need to really emphasize that you quit job. It's all my personal opinion, of course, but I would not recommend it for you to
Thank you so
emphasize
much.
this.
Thank you, Mai. Thank
No
you,
worries. Yeah.
Elaf.
So Nor, go ahead. Directly question, please. Unmute yourself. I think you speak, but we don't hear you. And guys, if your interview is online, please make sure that you unmute yourself and speak, answer your question.
Yes.
Sorry for that. So my question is a bit simple, but I think it's crucial. So we should devote like 2 minutes for each question each, or like it depends on how we practice, because timing is very important, and sometimes we might overshare or share things like that are not enough. So what about the timing? Maybe the timing can help us frame the answer in a very good way. Thank you.
Yolanda, can you answer? You have
Yes.
experience, and Onkarabile
So
next you add.
I remember that it depends on your panel. I think that what I can say to you and is my best advice, try to speak as much as you can until they stop you, because it's better that you try to um, speak about your project as much as possible rather than just rehearsal the answers and run out of time because of that, and be quiet, you know. Like I remember that my interview only was for 15 minutes. I was very scared because they only answer, and they only asked me 4 questions. Two of them I didn't prepare at all, because one was, my career was always developed in United States. So they told me like, why UK and what not United States? And that was like something that I was rehearsing, networking, why UK, etc. But they were very specific, like why, if venture capital is also in California, in Stanford, why UCL? So you have to be very, very precise. I think that the time is not important as long as you are very concise and precise. And I recommend you to speak a lot until they tell you, okay, I have heard everything that I want. I would rather done that. And sorry, the last thing is that don't be nervous. My panel was very serious. I have heard from another Cheveners that the panel were very social with them, but in my case, they were like very, very serious. I was like, I'm not convinced them at all. So like, don't panic. Keep on talking. They need to see that you're not nervous, that you know it, because maybe that was like a tricky thing that they were just doing, like we're very serious. But I was just like, okay, keep on talking, keep on talking.
Onkarabile, do you have another experience you can share also regarding the question?
I think I have a sort of a little bit of the same, different side of the same coin as Yolanda. The only thing is just also make sure that when you are speaking, you're answering the question and you're speaking to the point of the question. So if they're asking you about when was a time you had to show or use your networking skills, don't start with, so like my mom and my dad and my cousin and my sister and my friend, and now you're speaking for 5 minutes about something that doesn't answer the actual question, which is where and how are your how do you use your networking skills. So think about it, even if you take a minute just to pause and to frame your mind, just make sure that what you are saying is answering the question. So you're saying, how I use my networking skills is I use my in Facebook, and I go to people on Twitter and I DM them and I ask them 1, 2, 3, and then I put them all in a WhatsApp group. And then after I put them in a WhatsApp group, we communicate and we execute the project. If you answer that in whether it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes, as long as you're actually answering the question. I think that's what you just need to keep in mind, because sometimes when you speak for long, you're not answering what the actual question is, and then the panelist is still very confused. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you so much. Thea, go ahead, please. Directly question, please. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay. Hello. My question is on reference. Actually, I uploaded my reference long back ago. I think it was in November, and I just realized they left the institute. Is it possible during the interview to change them, or it's not possible? Yeah, that was my question.
Like your question is that you want to change your reference, or you didn't upload the letters properly?
No. The thing is, I uploaded the letter. I think it was in November. Then both of them, they left the institute, and one is not even in the country, and the other one, she's always in the country, but not always, but she's just up and down. And I just realized that I think I need to update my reference with the one that are that are previous. I mean, working with the institution. Is it possible to change them or not during the interview?
I'm not gonna maybe I will sound like aggressive when I will answer this. This is your fault because you didn't choose like a proper reference people. So when you choose a reference, you have to make sure that they accessible, they on, and they are stable in their case. But to help your condition is that you can take your new reference letter to the interview and explain them the situation and tell them maybe this person is not using this email, for example, anymore. So I'm not quite sure, and I understood the last part, but if like they left their institution and they put their contact related to that institution, you can change the contact and you can like bring a new reference letter with you.
Oh, okay. Because the thing is, when I uploaded the reference letter, they were working with the institution at the institution, but I think in December then they left. That's why I want to share them just
It's
in case.
totally fine. Like I don't think the panel will be that strict if you explain your situation and you bring your reference letter with you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That was my question.
Okay, I also want to add, like my personal point of view are a little bit different from Elaf. I think like it's not change the fact if they quit the job. It's not change the fact that they were particular time your I don't know leader of the group or team, or I don't know, they still worked with you, right? In particular special time. So if they just quit the job, it's not change the situation. So they wrote about you when you worked with them. So I don't think that change the reference it's good idea, because you had enough time for them to find them firstly and upload it on the application. So my personal recommendation is to not change the reference for this reason. If there is some more issues, which we don't know, maybe you can change, but like I'm not recommended but if they change just email, make sure that you contact with them and print the new letter where is the new information.
Yeah.
Because like the fact that they were your coworker. It's not change, like it's not make changes that they quit their job.
No,
I
no,
hope
no.
that answer find
Oh,
you well. So
yeah. But the thing is, it's this one now is in Ghana. So I don't know now how he's going to, because he was working for the institution. I don't know now
if
how
he
he's
work
going.
in England, it's benefit for you because he's in the UK, firstly, and they can
No, no,
contact with her or him easily, firstly. And
no.
secondly, you can make contact with him in other social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. If you prefer, you contact with him or her by phone. Make sure that she or he are still your reference, because when he or she wrote for you the letter,
Uh-huh.
it's mean that like he were responsible for it. Okay, so change the country does not change the situation that he has experienced to work with you. Okay, so
Oh,
and
good.
nowadays communication by the phone and device is very easy, especially if this person are in the UK. Okay, so just make sure and inform your reference that you are already shortlisted candidate, and Chevening scholars, the secretariat may call them or text them email. Okay, Ahmed, go ahead, please.
Katri?
Ahmed, unmute yourself and go ahead.
Okay, hi. So thank you so much for this interesting session. I hope you can hear me well. I actually have a question about the one of the examples. So my question is, when we like have the chance to mention the examples, for example, in the interview about leadership, should we only mention one example and elaborate on it, or should we include both of the examples? Let me say, if not those mentioned in the essays, could be outside of the essays. Like, if you can only answer this. And my second question is, what if the example mentioned in the interview, away from the essay, was not relevant to the career plan or even the subject? Would that be a valid example to mention?
Can I answer the second question?
Oh,
Oh,
are
go
you
ahead.
taking the
Sorry.
first one or the
Onkarabile,
second
you
one?
can start from the first. Yeah, go ahead, please. And second.
Just repeat your first question again. Sorry, I was gonna answer the second one in my mind.
Okay, so the first question is, when we like mention examples on leadership, for example, should we mention only one example? Because in my essays, I wrote two examples, not only one.
Okay, so it depends on what, like, if there's a specific type of question that they're asking. Otherwise, it's all up to you, because you're trying to put your best foot forward. So you can choose if you're going to mention an example that is not even mentioned in your essays, because that shows a whole nother side of you as a person and as a leader that they haven't seen or read. Or you can also choose to maybe elaborate on an example that you've put up in your essay. For example, maybe you felt like you didn't articulate this example enough, but pick the best one. So you might have 10 examples. They might all be great, but there's probably like one example that really, really sticks out and shows you as like a holistic leader and where you like stood up and changed the world. Pick that example. But also listen to what the question is, because maybe the question is about where you failed as a leader. And maybe the ones that you wrote in your essay don't speak to you failing as a leader, for example. And then you might want to have an example that shows where you failed and what you learned from that failure. So just listen to the question and take a moment and then pick an example that shows the best form of, whether it's leadership, networking, career, whatever the case might be, and then answer that one.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. The second question, like if you can, Elaf, answer.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yes. What if the example mentioned in the interview away from my essays was not relevant to the career plan or even the subject? Because as you said, I don't have to memorize my examples, because if I am in the interview, for instance, I don't recall that example, I need to come up with another example. So again, is it okay to mention an example not relevant to my career plan or even my subject? So for example, I'm going like to study education and international development. And if I wanted to mention an example not related to education or even development, but something relevant to something else, would that be a valid example?
If this example for if this examples show your quality as a leader, or this example for example shows your quality as a networker, you can mention that. You just not like stick to the education or your sector. You can mention the example that shows the best qualities that you have and illustrate them. For example, in leadership, if there is a problem in your work, if there is a specific area you work to solve this, you can mention that. But in the career plan, in the subject career plan, you have to be relevant and explain what you will do in the career plan, also the thing that you mentioned in your essay. But if the leadership section and the network section, you can free and you have the sky is the limit. You can use any example that you want, but like my Chevening fellow said, you have to also focus on the question first, and you have to see if this example shows your qualities, the best of you. You have to put all the best of you on the table. So you have to pick the strongest examples, but not necessarily relevant to your major of study.
Okay, thank you so much, Elaf.
You're welcome.
Otis, go ahead, please. Directly question.
Hi, Mai, and hi to all the panelists. I'm Otis S. Bondahu. I'm Claire. So I have two questions, and one have to do with the full stats of Cheveners, like over 56,000 Chevening alumni who have benefited from this scholarship. Is there any area that I can get it from? Is there a website I can check to get it from? I've checked Chevening's website. I'm not seeing, especially for a case, for a country case basis, like for Liberia, how many Cheveners from Liberia, the program they've achieved their masters in. So I'll be glad if you can help me with any, if you have. And my second question is, I have realized that there's a gap within the Chevening alumni in Liberia, and I decided to volunteer to see as to whether I can fill that. But basically, it's about creating a kind of database for them. So I was thinking, going for the interview, does it make sense to make a reference of that? And if I'm saying it, how should I say it? Won't it be a kind of complaint that I'm giving that they've not been able to cover the other part of it? I would really be glad if you can kind of help me with the necessary way to go about it. Thank you so much.
Onkarabile, go ahead.
I would say that that sounds like a great idea that you can mention. So if you, for example, do your research and just make sure you've dotted your T's, dotted your I's and crossed your T's, that is a great question that you can bring up at the end. If you phrase it right, give it a little bit of polish, that's a question that you can ask at the end when they say, do you have any questions? And you could say that, okay, as a future scholar, I would like to actually collect some data and have this available. And this is what I would like to add as an alumni or as a scholar. That is something that you can definitely add. It's unique and it's different. I know that there is information available on the websites, and it's like specific to, I guess, your country and like that website per se. But over and above, not quite, I think, as specific as you are requesting, which I think then you've identified a gap and now you're able to use that as a question in your interview as well.
I agree. Just want to add that, for example, for instance, in my country, they posting about us on social media, Facebook, not the website, but every year they creating special album where they add information about us, and time to time they trying to add more information, for example update what we are doing here. So make sure and check your like embassy, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, everything. So you already also had another question. I think I'm not sure if we covered both of them.
Yeah. So from what I forgot her name, the lady who just spoke. So what I'm doing now is basically I spoke with the president of the alumni. I want to provide a service on a voluntary basis. So is it more like a kind of question? So I was thinking if I go for the interview and I want to make it as an example of volunteering for, I mean, for the alumni ahead of you me being a scholar, whether it makes sense for me to do that. Because I called the president, I shared with her, she had to give me a response from me.
Do it. Like I said, if you phrase it right, and for example, you're already in touch with someone with an alumni, so that's already showing networking skills. But if you phrase that question right at the end, or even as a proposal, it doesn't necessarily have to be a question, but you could say that like, as a future scholar, if all things go well, this is what I would like to bring or leave behind as a legacy or bring to the table, because it already shows that you are thinking ahead of time and you're thinking beyond your year in the UK, and that you're planning on leaving something behind. So it's just about phrasing it correctly. It's not necessarily asking a question, but you could say, I don't have a question, I just have a proposal that I'd like to bring to the table. If all things go well, this is what I'd like to do. And maybe we can speak about it after the whole year or whatever happens. And then if you just phrase it right, go for it.
Okay, Gerhard, go ahead. Guys, I'm really sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Take my apologies, please. Unmute yourself and go ahead. We did not hear you. Okay, Gohan, go ahead and ask the question because we did not hear. Gohan,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for the interview, firstly. My question is, actually, Elaf is explained a little bit, but can we change our university choice? Like, if I get rejected from the all three choices, can I change it easily? Because I heard from some people say, like, you cannot change the university, and if you cannot get as acceptance letter from three university, like you are out of the scholarship. Is it correct? Or is it easy? Again, I really want to clarify this. Because
okay, I will start.
No, it's not correct. Actually, this has happened to me. I get rejected from my first choice, and I changed my first choice because I want to like get all offers, all offers from my third.
I am not able to hear.
His voice is cutting. I cannot hear him very well. He's talking about the changing university, right? You're talking about the changing university.
Yes,
it's difficult.
Yes.
First of all, the changing university is very easy. Chevening is not that strict. Okay. In my personal like experience in the interview, the first question that I got, do you want to change your university choices? Like it's different, maybe the experience from the other entrepreneurs. The first question that I got, do you want to change your university choices? Sorry, I said yes, but I didn't tell them I get rejected. Please don't tell them this question, okay? okay, or maybe you should not tell them, okay, I did a proper research again and I found this course. This shows to them that you didn't do your research well in the beginning. So try to find another justification, but don't tell them that you get rejected. In my case, I get rejected, but I didn't tell them that I get rejected. I just find another justification related to the modules, the institution that they have, the university. They have cooperation with other industrial institutions. I mentioned that. So try to research and find justification. But you can change your university and be put in your mind that the outcome of the new course should align with your career plan.
Okay,
Otherwise,
but
there's no problem.
okay, during the interview,
And
it's
it will
okay, or
not affect
even after
what?
the interview? During the interview, it is okay, but after the interview, like 2 months later, maybe we can also
Yeah.
change.
You can
The last
no
chance
the
to change the universities is in the interview. After that, you can't. Unless if there is like a very high circumstances. For example, I have a friend, maybe you know her, Maya Hanan. She changed her university after she got the final award letter. Do you know why? Because all the courses get been canceled. So she has unique problem. But otherwise, if you don't have like this major circumstances, you will not allow to change the universities after the interview.
Like rejection from 3 university is a valid.
No, unless
No.
they cancel the course. The university maybe this happens a lot. This happens also to me. The third course that I chose, I got an offer to them, and then they canceled the course. If the all three choices, this is like very rare. If they get canceled, maybe they will allow you to be like to change and give another option. But otherwise, no. The last chance to change the university is on the interview.
Okay. Another quick question. I guess I saw most of the people has departments from like public relations or more social sciences, but I will study business and like or business related majors, and it's just really capitalistic majors. Is it a problem? Like, are they choosing more social sciences or like public service sciences? No.
No. The nice thing about like the Chevening Scholarship is, this is gonna sound weird, but they really don't care what you do. You can go do film, art, drama, music, medicine, history, law, whatever as long as you are able to justify why you want to do it, how that fits into your career plan, how you're going to give back to your community, and how that can link relations between your country and the UK. As long as it fits into that realm, it really doesn't matter what it is that you are doing. So don't base it on what you think Chevening is going to do. Base it on what you want to do, why you're passionate about it. And if you can bring that forward into the interview, then it doesn't matter. You can be doing anything under the sun, and they really don't care about that. They care about the message and the story behind it.
Absolutely. Just want to add about the university and clarify it more. A lot of current scholar repeated that don't change university, instead of also like included the meme, because firstly, if you change university, especially if you change all of them, it's mean that you have not done research from the very beginning, and it's your weakness. Secondly, like you have to find like proof why you have to change, as the Elaf mentioned already. So if you go and say like, okay, after 6 months, I just think about this and I don't like it, of course, it's your weakness. So you have specific reason that you receive the rejection. So right now, my advice is go and check the like all the possible university, check the require related your qualification, and make sure that this particular university you will change, they will accept it you, and change only one. don't change 2 or 3 because it's look strange. It's look like you have not done research or there happened something. So don't make acting like they are ask you following a question, or like they look at you, okay, this man is something strange, he made something but we don't understand what because he don't clarify. So go ahead, don't lose the time because it's also very important. Right now UK universities are very, very busy. This is the time that like maybe they will late and answer you back after 3 months. I had the example, I applied for university and I received the offer when I started studying University of Glasgow. Imagine I applied in December, but I received the offer after like I'm studying here in September. So use all the opportunity that you have. Check the course leader, contact with them on the LinkedIn or Twitter, because here it's very useful platform. I don't know your country, how is it work? For example, in Georgia, no one used the Twitter, especially the professor, to contact with them. But use Twitter or LinkedIn. Say that, okay, I'm very excited to be in your university in especially particular course, and I apply. I'm a Chevening scholar. Most of the university now Chevening scholarship. So say that, okay, I have the emergency case. I was not sure that I would be here on this stage, but right now I have big motivation that continue studying in the UK. Please, I really need to have my offer as soon as possible. And if it's the possibility, can you check or give me some advice? How can we make this process faster? So use all the possibilities you have. Thank you so much. And Lilith?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Hi all.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, go ahead, Lilith.
Yeah.
And you can
Okay.
add Elaf after this question.
Thank you. Hi all, thank you very much for your tips. My question is that I have got an unconditional offer from my first choice university.
You're
Do
on
you
mute.
guys hear? Yeah, I can't hear you.
I got muted, sorry. My question is that I got a unconditional offer from my first choice university. So I haven't applied for the other two yet, and I don't really plan to that much because my course has never been cancelled and it is a popular course. So should I mention about this, that I haven't applied to the other two, or if I get the question, should I say that I'm in the process, or what do you think? Thank you.
Go ahead, Gareth.
I'm a safety girl, so this is just my safety girl opinion. Just apply to those universities and have like some thing in your email, that like a reference number that says pending, or even if you get a conditional or unconditional offer from those universities, even if you're not going to go, but just in case something somewhere happens and maybe, I don't know, the scholarship is like they would rather have you go to a different unit. Not that that happens. Usually everyone gets their first choice. But just in case, touch wood, something happens, then you do have a backup. So in the interview, you could just say, this is my first choice, and emphasize why it is your first choice when you're answering questions and how that aligns with everything else. And then if they ask you about the other universities, you could just say that your application for those universities is pending. So at least it shows that you've done something, because then you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Okay. I agree with
absolutely.
you. I very agree with you. I really like to play in the safe side, and usually it's very good if you have backup plan, like my Chevening fellow said, because, like, for example, in my case, what happened to me is my third choice is very popular course, but I didn't pay the deposit, and a lot of applicants, they apply to that course, so they have a limited number, so they canceled my offer because I didn't pay. And for my first and the second choice, it happened to me like personal circumstances. For example, in my country, they just deleted my first choice and they will not acknowledge it. So I ran away. I don't have like just the second choice. So I was determined to get my first choice. Even I booked the accommodation for my first choice, and I was mentally prepared to go to my first choice. But what happened is, on the last minute, I have my country, they listed the higher education ministry, they listed universities, and my first choice was deleted from that list. So I really want to go back to my country, and I want them to acknowledge my certificate or my study. So I have no choice. Imagine if I will not have the offers from the second choice, what will happen? I will like it will be a major problem to me. And I want to add something about this special of study or the sector of study. It's mentioned before. This is one of the reasons that I mentioned why Chevening, they don't have any limitation regarding your major or study. Like, for example, if your bachelor degree is different from your master's, is totally fine. Some of scholarships, they have limited study field, and they have a list for limited study fields. But the Chevening, no. The sky is the limit. You can choose any university you want. You can choose any course that you want. So there is no limitation regarding this. So they don't prefer like a certain area of a study. This depends on their plan and what they will do in the country, and also it depends on your plan and how you represent yourself. So the study area is not related, or is not going to be a criteria, like for like major criteria if you be chosen or not. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elaf. I think get hard. You did not say last time. If you fix your problem, please go ahead. Okay. So, okay, I think you unmute yourself, but we did not hear you. Maybe it's better if you writing on the chat, and we will try to answer you on the chat. So, Juan Pablo, go ahead.
Hello, Maya. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I belong to the group 15 of the law for the Global Chevening Mentorship program. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I have two questions. The first question is about about this. How how what kind of tips or recommendation can give me any of you about to be specific, because I know it's always is a thing. I made some mock interviews last week, and the feedback is always you need to be specific. But how I can assess that suggestion of in a way would be effective. My second question would be about what kind of activities do you, this is for Maya in particular. The second question, it's how can how activities could you recommend for doing in Glasgow beyond academics, particularly you personally enjoyed so much? Thank you so much.
Guys, you can start and I will answer the second question.
Please just repeat your first question again. I just want to get it right.
How can he be more specific when he answering on the interview?
Perfect. So there's a couple of methods. They're all pretty much the same in terms of like answering questions. It's either the star or the car or the tar. They all mean the same thing, which is basically how you structure your answers to a question. So basically, I'll stick to the short one, but just Google either star, car, tar. And like there's a lot of like YouTube videos that are like short and tell you what each one means. But I'll just explain car because it's the easiest one for me. Basically, what that means is the C is for your case, A is for action, R is for result. So just keep those in mind. Like what happened? What is the situation? What is the event that happened? What is it? And explain that. Then explain the action. So what did you do? So let's say it's about leadership. You said that there was a project that you guys had to do to march for civil rights at your university, for example. Okay, so that was the situation. What are the actions? You went and you campaigned around campus, you sent out flyers, and you got a group together and you got a date and you organized the march. R is the result. What is the result? What actually happened? Okay, the result is that the march happened. It was fantastic. The university loved it, and now they do it every year in commemoration of civil rights movements at my university. Then you can also add, just as a little spice on top, is something that you learned from the situation. So personally, what I learned from the situation is that I learned how to be a team player, I learned how to delegate, and I learned how to be punctual and to plan and to organize things. So just make sure it's car, star, or tar, and those are like really key ways that can help you answer questions directly with keeping everything intact. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. Yes, very useful tips. And I will send you today and tomorrow, guys, the people who are Global Mentorship Program. I will send today the criterias, like interview criterias. And one of the tips there written is that STAR approaches. So the panel use the STAR approaches to make the mark for you. So regarding your question about Glasgow, firstly, I love Glasgow and I'm so happy that I'm studying here for a lot of reasons. Firstly, I'm Potterhead from the very, very beginning. I was like 10 or 9 that I got the Potterhead. So Glasgow is also like small Hogwarts. People call the Glasgow small Hogwarts. So behind me is the Glasgow, so you can enjoy the view. And I told them on the interview stage that I will bring my own broomstick to travel all the places where the Harry Potter story written, especially in Edinburgh. It's near the Glasgow, just only 30 minutes. And here is just looking for on the website which Harry Potter activities happened in the Glasgow. And if you are a Harry Potter lover, if not, you have to try to find something personal. For example, if you like hiking, there's a lot of highlands, which is very special in Scotland, maybe Loch Lomond or any other places. So just looking for what is special happening in Glasgow. Regarding the university, there's lots of unions and activities that you can join. For example, joining a British Sign Language group because I'm studying inclusive education and I'm interested to make the environment more inclusive. So this is the one, my hobby kind of maybe. And also I joined the Scottish dance because I want to get to know cultural more, and enjoying, because mostly in this group are a lot of Scottish people. So this is the chance for international students to keep in touch with the community. I think this is all the activities that I'm doing. So next person, you're welcome. So next person in my list in Collins. Collins, go ahead.
Thank you, Maya, or am I pronouncing your name well? Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, I have a quick one. What if you are asked a question, say, for example, why Chevening? And perhaps maybe you have an answer like, I want to speak about Chevening leads to studying in the UK, where you'll have a 1-year master's degree, you'll have a very short time, and then you are back to your country to impact the community. How will that sound?
So before we answer, just I will say that it's the answer or question you have to go and looking for by your own self. Just re-emphasize that Chevening is not only scholarship, and your question make me feel like you did not really research a lot. So go ahead right now and check the Chevening website. Also, a lot of our speakers talking about this. And there is not any specific answer why Chevening. You have to try find by yourself why you want to study in UK and use this Chevening scholarship, okay?
Yes.
So do you have any other question also?
Yes, my last question, yes. My last question is on the flow and structure. I realize that sometimes we need to have the answers very short and precise. So at times, how do you structure your question? Like you want to introduce a leadership example where your leadership skills were so influential in such a way that you changed, maybe you made some difference among your group. Take for example, when you are in the university, how do you come up with this structure? Like you need to explain. Do we need to use the star directly? Just mention that there was a situation like, for example, let me use an example where comrades were staging a demonstration. They were planning to demonstrate. Then maybe you talked about meeting the student union, negotiating with the university management on some issues. How do you go about this question of structuring so that I am not seen like maybe you're just giving a bullet points of what's happening?
So the star car structure is more of just like a structure that you keep in your mind as to, like a checkbox that you have mentally so that you can know, have you ticked all the boxes so that you know that you're answering the question. You don't explicitly have to say I'm going to use the star method to answer the question, and you don't specifically have to say, okay, so the situation was, the task was, the action was, the result was. But it just helps you structure, so that you know. But if you mention those words in particular, saying, okay, this was the situation, this is the task, this is the action that I took, and this was the result. If you mention it like that, it's not a problem as long as you're just answering the actual question. So that is just the guideline to make sure that you're not running off on a tangent and then speaking about the SGB and the situation and then this person, and you're actually sticking to the situation that happened and what the results were to answer the question. I hope that helped.
That is nice. I don't know. Maybe to wrap up, I just want to say thank you to you guys for organizing this event. This is one of networking. At least we have networked. We are hearing people in Glasgow, people smiling. So at least the network. Let us give the network. But if at all I manage to get into the list of the Cheveners, then we need to have a global network, such that maybe Maya would want to run for president in our country. We can pump in resources and even assist her morally by maybe running out the social media campaigns, maybe like the psychological support. so that she clinges.
So cute. Yeah, this is, yeah, look, you already find the answer why you want to be achieving particular a scholarship. That's why we won't answer your question, because what we are doing, we show you and all of you that what is Chevening. So you already found brilliant answer. Okay, Tanya, you're next. Go ahead.
Hello, guys, and thank you for these opportunities. My question is regarding the universities. I didn't get any response until now, and my interview is in the last day of the March. And until now, I didn't get any offers, so I'm worried just about this case. And I know that in the interview is the only chance to change the universities. And yeah, this is my question. Is it okay for someone go and attend the interview without any offers?
Elaf, do
Go
you want
ahead,
to answer
girls.
or
Yeah.
should I go for it?
Like, it's okay to go to the interview without having any offers, because it's not in your hand that the university didn't answer you yet. But you can email them now and send them the screenshot of the Chevening invitation to accelerate their answer. And you can also contact them by phone calls. If the international calls, this will advise to all of you guys, the international calls may be expensive. You can buy subscription through Skype. You can call any mobile phone or any phone in the UK. If you bought this subscription, you can call the university and also accelerate the answer. You can just email them, and also not email the administrative team. You can search for the for example the department email
Course
that
leader,
you
yeah.
want to get
Course leader.
or the professors. You can find them in the website to accelerate the process. And I think the screenshot of the Chevening invitation interview maybe will help you to get like a positive point and to accelerate their answer.
I actually send them the screenshots for the shortlisted candidates, and also I write an emails for them. But until now, they didn't get me back.
When you applied for university, how
I
long
applied.
is?
Yes, I applied for the university. Some of them in the beginning of the January, and the others in the end of the January.
So it's early to get
Yeah.
I think, because in my case, for example, after 6 months, I get an offer. So I think it's okay to come to the interview without any offer. And also try to call them. Sorry for you can call them. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, like as I mentioned, also you can like keep in touch with the course leader. It's helped you a lot. I had the same situation, but it's also happened. I already said, but I will repeat. I got my offer when I came in the UK, but I applied in December. Like imagine 2021 December, but I got offer in 2022 September, like 15 October. I already been here, so it's very busy time right now. We repeated that you have to apply as soon as possible. So try to make sure that you will use all the chance you have. Keep in touch with them. Also, like maybe find someone scholar who are in the UK and who can call instead of you, because I like from your country, maybe you know someone from our cohort who can call them and ask about you, because for example, my cousin live here and she called instead of me because I had some fee problem that end of the August, and they received my email from the Chevening very late. So it was like they asked me like when I will pay, or otherwise they will just cancel my offer. So they call and I fix the problem. So just use all the opportunity that you have.
Guys,
Dirar, go ahead. Oh, Tanya, do you have any other question? Sorry.
yes, please.
Okay,
No,
go
no.
ahead. So sorry. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's okay, dear. Just I need to say that this is because of my, am I false for being late to apply for the universities, or it's okay?
No, you are not wrong. It's okay. A lot of my friends, they went to the interview without having any offer. But like we said, we like to be in the safe side. I applied early and I get my offers and I went to the interview, but it's not something that you should do. I think it's okay. And try to contact the university, like I said, from like buy a subscription from Skype. You can call them and contact the course leader or the program leader. You will find their emails in the university website to accelerate the process. But I think if you applied in the end of January, it's too early to get the answer. Some universities are busy now because of the January intake students. So this period is very busy. The January and the February, the administrative are busy with the admitting new students. That's why maybe you didn't get an answer yet.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So next person in my list is Dirar Skef. Go ahead, please. Sorry if I pronounce your name.
Yes, good. Yes, that's it too. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for this great session. Please, Maya, if you are hearing me clearly, just give me a nod or say yes, because the internet connection here is a little bit awful.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. Thanks. I have several questions, so I would like to start from the simplest one to the complex one in order. So I would like to directly, and if you can answer the first one, and then can move to the next, second, the next, the simplest one. Is it good to be funny with the panelists?
Can we split the
To have a
question?
sense
I
of
think
humor?
it's better because, yeah, I think it's better if we split question. Okay, we will answer first question and then you can ask again another question, okay?
Is it good a little bit? Is it good to be funny during the interview to have a sense of humor, or it is a bad idea?
I think I don't get the question.
Was that your question? So, like, is it good to show sense of humor or to be funny in the interview? Hello?
Yeah,
I think that was the question, or that's my understanding.
Yeah.
I think it's better if you typing on the chat and we will answer you on the chat because we lost your voice and it's very hard to catch the words. If it's okay for you. Thank you so much. Dionisio, do you have another question? Or
Yes, I'm
it's
sorry.
just your Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
I do. I want to know how big of a problem the fees is in accepting the application. So I don't know if it is a big problem. Right now I have two offers and they are asking for fees. What I understand is that you talk to them and you tell them if they can waive it. And sometimes if they say no, but you still want it, maybe you risk paying for it. That's my understanding. But I don't know if it is a big problem at the end in general. And then if we accept it, then if we get admitted for top choice, the first choice, then you know what happens to that. Then to the other universities, you tell them, oh no, I cannot go. Like, is that a problem?
Chevening advised us not to make any payments.
All right.
Okay, and
Yes.
they consider the offers that they have only the payment condition as an unconditional offers. So it depends on the university. Some universities, they did waive the payment and they changed the date for the payment after you explain them your situation in the email. This is what I did. I explained them my situation. I told them that I am a Chevening scholar. This is the deadline. This is the result will be announced. So can you please like postpone the payment? Some universities, they were cooperative and they agreed, and some universities, to be honest, they didn't agree. So it depends on the university and the course leader also.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
But most of the university are partner of the Chevening scholarships. So it's like give you a chance that be like safe kind of. For example, I had also same situation. I sent them email that, okay, here we go. I have a deadline of in July. I will have an answer. Okay, beginning of the June, but in our cohort we receive answer end of the June. So there was like I just keep in touch with university several times to make sure that they really understand that it was not my fault and the Chevening sent us the answer very late. So they postponed my fee, but it was a little bit difficult because yeah, like you have to call, you have to keep in touch with them. It's stress,
Yes.
but it's work.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, so Vala, go ahead, please. And we have 4 questions.
Yes,
Hello?
Maya.
Vala, go ahead. And Dirar, please text us on the chat because we lost your voice. And we will answer you on the chat.
So this is
Vala,
Wala.
you have to
If
unmute. Yeah,
right.
okay, go ahead.
I have a question. Firstly, thank you for your effort, and we hope all go to UK. My question is, how can your study in the UK help you achieve your goals? I didn't understand this question. They mean I should mention the universities. I mean the 3 universities, and link them with my goals, all my goals, the 3 goals, a short and mid and long term, or I should just mention the course title and after that mention how it will help me achieving my goal in general.
I'll go for this one. I think that depends on what you're doing, who you are, and what your goals are and how they align. I think it is very important to make sure that you do articulate, for example, if you have decided to study, let's say, international relations, and that's like your first choice. You just need to make sure you articulate how that links between you, the degree, and the goal itself, whether it's your short-term goals, your medium-term, or your long-term. It's up to you, because at the end of the day, you want to put your best foot forward, right? So whether you think that your medium-term goal is you putting your best foot forward, then that is what you emphasize, and then you link it all together. It's also good to emphasize like how it will create or help relations in with your country and the UK. I'll give you an example. I'm doing media economics, And my linking was that I'm going to try and bring the education of economics through media into schools. And how that will help the UK is if children in South Africa are more dependent and they are able to manage their finances. That means they're not dependent on the state, which means that the state won't ask for loans, which means that countries like the UK don't have to give loans out to South Africa. My actual goal has nothing to do with the UK, but the ripple effects have something to do with the UK. So that is also something that you can think about is your goal might not necessarily have a direct impact on the relations between your country and the UK, but maybe the ripple effects or the generational effects of something that you could do for your community will help your country, and then that will help relations between your country and the UK. So you can always start small and look out, but just make sure you link everything. So why does your degree matter with what you want to do? And why does what you want to do have an impact on your community? And then you can think broadly thereafter.
Okay, thank you.
We have questions in the chat box. Can I answer one of them? Or you will...
Can you please type in for the for this question, and because there are people who are still raising the hands. So Doreen, go ahead. If you are speaking, we did not hear. Unmute yourself,
I
please.
just noticed I was muted. Hello, thank you for doing this session. It's really insightful and helpful for all of us. I just had one question. On the portal, it is they say that they cannot delete any documents that are uploaded, and there is a section for uploading university transcripts, wherein I accidentally also uploaded like high school transcripts together with that. So I was wondering if that would be a major problem, or will that just be something that they might in the future, if they see maybe they want to cut people down, that may be something that they look at and say, she didn't follow instructions and so she's out.
No, these mistakes happened, and you can just take your transcript with you in the interview and tell them maybe you upload the wrong one and you couldn't delete it, and they can give you like an email contact to upload it or send it to them, or you can give them by paper your certificates in the interview. And I think this is not an acceptance criteria. The acceptance criteria is way more like complicated than this. I don't think Chevening will refuse a person because of this. These accidents happened, and they are really flexible regarding the documentation. So relax, they will not reject you because of this.
All right, thank you so much. That is a very reassuring.
Okay, you're welcome.
Hedy, go ahead.
Hello, dear Maya. Guys, how are you? I thank you, really thank you so much for your really informations. I really learned a lot and it changed my perspective. Really, I have one question. This is for Elaf, and I am same as Elaf from Iraq. So I want to know more about one issue which is a bit personal. I think Elaf also has brought her daughter with herself, I think. Is it normal? Is it normal, or actually I am married and I want to bring my husband too with myself, so I don't know how Chevening will deal with this issue and how should I prepare myself from now. Thank you so much.
I think do monitorship for the people that they will bring their families with them, because I have a lot. Sorry. Show me. I think Chevening, put in your mind they are not responsible. Sorry. He heard his name and he's just, I will change my place. Show me. I think Chevening is not responsible to sponsor your family. So you have to take into account that you are capable to bring your kid and your family to the UK. It's not a problem. It's not a major problem that if you want to bring your family with you, you can bring them and apply for dependent visa. Your husband will get it and your child will get it also. But you have to read about the visa requirement and put in your mind your financial capability, because Chevening, they will only sponsor you. They will not sponsor your child or your family, but otherwise it's not also an acceptance criteria and it's not major problem. And in Iraq, you can apply the visa process is totally your university responsibility. So they will sponsor dependent visa. So please try to search about dependent visa for your child and your husband, and they will get as much as the time you will get in the UK, and everything will be normal, and don't be panic about that. It's very easy, but you have to search and you have to check your financial capability. And also one of the visa requirement, maybe it's too soon to talk about it, but I will illustrate that just to put that in your mind. You have to you have to put a certain amount of money in your bank account, in your husband bank account, so they can accept you, because the UK, they want to make sure that you have the enough amount of money for your child and for your husband. And my personal advice, if you want to bring your family with you, stay away from London, because it's too expensive. Even the amount of money that you will have in your bank account in London will be more than other cities. This is my personal tip for you. And if you need anything, you can take my contact and I will happy to help you.
Thank you, Elaf. You helped me a lot already. Thank you so much. I will contact you later on, inshallah, if I get accepted. Thank you so much, Guy. I appreciate your time.
Ahmed, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you again. I have just written my questions like in the chat, but I'm gonna read them. So regarding the questions of why the UK, like I know when I wrote my essays, I talked about the course in details, modules, city, challenges, and sector with the statistics. But you know, we mentioned 3 universities with elaboration on course modules and other details. My question is, will they ask a specific question about uni or course, like why the course or why the uni? I know they have done this with other scholars, but should I assume, like when they say why the UK, that I should answer this? Like I should mention reasons other than the academic reasons, like social, historical, cultural, or should I consider this as a separate question? That when they say why the UK, you need to mention this. When they say why the course, you need to mention this. Like, what do you advise here? Thank you.
So I think that it depends on how your interview is going. So, for example, if they've already asked you about why your specific course or university or degree, and you've already answered that, and then they ask you why the UK instead of any other country, then you can focus on specifically why the UK and the things that you can benefit from the UK itself. With me, for example, I had an alumni from the university I am at right now. So she was asking me questions about the university and the city specifically because she's been there. So I had to make sure that the answers that I give when I'm saying why the UK and why Norwich are linked with the university, because there was someone in my panel who actually knew all of that and lived that experience. So I would say definitely like look at it as a holistic perspective. So you can even break it down to your panelist and say, why the UK? Well, from an academic point of view, 1, 2, 3, 4. From a UK point of view, outside of academics, these are the things that I would love to experience or benefit. And then from a course point of view and then mention how it links with your life. You could always just break it down and say, okay, when they ask me this question, I'm going to touch on 3 things, for example, and then you can touch on all of them. Depending on if they've asked you that before, then you don't repeat that. And then if they haven't, then you can just add that into the answer.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, because some panel even just have specific list of the question and they may not ask you about why particular UK. So you have to use all the chance from the very first moment you get the question.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
Azep, go ahead, please. Unmute yourself if you're speaking, please.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My question is about universities. You have already said about the universities, but when we come to my point, I have applied to other universities that I have mentioned on my application, and I got an unconditional offer. But when I see the universities that I have chosen on my application, they don't fulfill my interest. So what if I change 3 of my universities or my first university choice? What's your recommendation or opinion? Thank you.
I think somehow we already covered this question, but I think I want to emphasize one more time. Firstly, when you change the university, you have to be sure that this is the relative course at university regarding your career plan, because you wrote your essay. You are on the interview stage because they like your ideas, they like your essay. So when you said that you change the university, it's mean that you change also your career plan or some goals. So make sure that this is the same course or same direction, same field that you wanted to study and mention before in your essay. Because if you like change absolutely your mind, it's mean that you are not sure, you are not stable, and there is the big question. So also when you change university, maybe make sure to find some really good reason, like why you have to change. Not like instead of say like, okay, I have not done any research before I wrote, because you had 3 months to looking for the university, get prepared, and make sure and done a lot of research why you want this particular university. Okay, and you wrote your essay regarding this university and course because it's LinkedIn. Why UK? You wrote why the university and course, and your career plan is connected and linked in your university and knowledge you gain in the UK. So that's why we don't really recommend it to change university, but it's not problem. You can, of course. So make sure to just change only one university and make sure to be the same course or direction and field which you already written in your essay. Ahmed, go ahead.
Okay.
No, sorry.
Can I add another?
Okay, sorry.
Okay, do you have any other question? Okay, yeah, of course.
One more.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, when we come to my situation, the course is the same, but only the university that I want to change. And does it have a negative impact on my interview result?
No, of course, but you have to check the university. Maybe, okay, I will share my experience because I have other university that I already mentioned that I changed one of my choices, and I have Zoom call with my university. I talk with course leader. I ask her a very, very specific question that I was interested in, because I wanted to focus especially inclusive education, not particular, for example, like adult education or something like that. So one of the course that I chosen before, on the website they written that they were focused about inclusive education, but the courses they had on the list, it was very general. It was not focused about the inclusive education, because I like when I applied, I read it, but I have not realized that it was like very general course. Of course, it was linked in the inclusive education, but after I had like the Zoom call with course leader, I understand and found out that okay, yeah, I want to come back in Georgia and change inclusive environmental, but this particular course won't be help because it's very general and it's focused international experience. Somehow it's also linked in the inclusive education, but like I chose this course because of this. So, and then I changed this university. So you have to be very sure when you change, and you have to give them like, okay, from the very beginning, I had not opportunity to keep in touch with university because it was like end of the year, they were busy. And after that, I think it's after February, they have open call like Skype or Zoom call for the new applicants. So show them that you use this chance. I hope that I cover your question.
Okay,
So
thank you.
next, okay, next person in my list is Taimel. Taimel, go ahead, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to make a brief comment before my question. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to tell to those who are waiting and they do not have any offer from the universities. So last year I was awarded a scholarship, but I made the same mistake. I got to the interview without applying to my universities. I was awarded a scholarship, but I didn't get any offer from my university and couldn't change them anymore because the interview was over. So make sure you have offer before you go into the interview. And if they are delaying, make sure you apply to another universities and change them as quickly as possible. This is my advice for you. So my question is that the lady who is studying economics and major, so I'm also in major field. So I would like to know what is the relations that is making UK close to the developing countries and countries that awarded the scholarship. So how major and UK major can close UK to those countries? What might be the relations that was created in the major fields and the developing countries may take advantage of it? This is my question. I don't know if you understand it.
I think that depends on where you're from. Because the thing about like media or social media specifically is that it's so broad. So it really doesn't matter like where you're from. I think it's more about like how you perceive it as a person who uses social media, for example, because my focus is specifically on social media, so not like your TV, books, radio, etc. It's more on social media, which is very broad because of globalization and the internet. But my perspective was just to see how can I use social media to impact individuals in my community, and if I use that and link it with finances, that will then relate to how my country's economy works, which means that they are not or will be less dependent on international loans, which we get from like countries like the UK. So I think to answer your question, it's more of like what is happening in your country and how do you see the relations in the media space between your country and international associations or agents or countries. And then you can link the two. So it depends on what media field you're trying to focus on, whether it's TV, radio, social media, the internet as a whole, books, PlayStations, because they all fall under the media realm. So pick one and then see how is it used in your country and how is the communication channels between your country and international countries, particularly the UK. If there is a gap, that's what you speak to. If there isn't a gap and it's more fluid, then you find a gap within another element. I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly.
Okay, so thank you. I'm based on major, major news and TV and radio. This is my field.
Okay, I see. Then you can always look at like how the news is always perceived, like your own country's news, how that is perceived and related to like people in your country. Like, what do you see on the news when you turn on the TV, for example? And then compare that to what we in the UK would see on the news about your country on the like on TV, and then relate that, because there's always a difference. And that's pretty much the avenue that you could always look at and say, okay, when they switch on the BBC and they go on the news, what are they saying about my country and the current situation compared to what is actually happening on the ground and what is being reported in your country's media?
Okay, so
I agree. I just want to add, please, because Chevening social media, I think 1 week ago, posted about BBC relationship and how they proud of about this relationship. So I don't know if you follow the social media, like Chevening on social media, but you have used this chance because like BBC is the one of the dream job for all the person who are on this field, and you can use this chance because Chevening are partner and a lot of Chevener was there, had the internship. So when you are Chevener, you have kind of priority to have a internship with BBC.
Okay. So
what was your go ahead.
Second question would be, so I have applied to University of Glasgow, Westminster, and University of Sussex. Which place would you recommend me, and why most of Cheveners are not in London?
I think it depends on your personal preference. We cannot say what best university. All the UK universities are good. So some people, they like to live in like big cities like London. For me, I don't like to live in big cities. That's why I chose Glasgow and Scotland. So it depends on your personal preference. We cannot say, okay, you should go to this university and you should leave this university. We cannot say that. It depends on some of the factors that personally you prefer. Like I said, for example, like some cities are expensive, some cities they have in nature, some cities they have like specific activities. So it depends on your choice, because you will live in this city for 1 year, so you have to think a lot, and you have to search a lot about what the best place for you. Of course, I will say Scotland is good. It's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree also. Yeah, it's very personal, of course, and you have to like make SWOT analysis. I know it's very hard from your perspective because you are far from UK, and from this perspective, university look very different. But read the blogs, ask the Cheveners, and make sure that you have already made the SWOT analysis before you make the your choices, because what Elaf said, you have to spend 1 year here, and out of the university you have to enjoy your Chevening journey. Don't forget about this. And one last question, Ahmed, go ahead and please just directly ask a question.
So my last question. Okay, so I got the 3 unconditional offers actually from Newcastle University, University of Sussex, and University of Leeds. my question is, I know like each university has like different modules. Like I know they are like the same course, but my question here, like when they say why the course, should I just say I choose my course to be in three universities X Y Z? Um, the course like I have chosen, which is blah blah blah, is because, and then I elaborate on a course that is found on only one university. Do you recommend this structure, or do you need like to tell me that no, you can also mention the other modules from other universities and combine them in one answer? Like, what's your recommendation here? I know
I'll
I
go.
structure a bit, but it's like some random like thoughts. I still like working on it.
I think it depends on like if you have a personal favorite or one that you're leaning towards, like a specific course, for example, because then you could always emphasize that. For example, I went into that interview knowing that like my first choice is my only choice. So I was emphasizing and speaking about like why that, when they asked me why that course, I was focusing on what my first choice was and why that one. And then I touched on the others because they were the same degree. It was media and development for my other two. And then I just spoke about like why media and development, but I emphasized on the one that I actually wanted so that they could get the picture. If you have something like that, you could always run with that to emphasize and make it stick. But otherwise, just go with why the course links with what you want. So you've already written it down in your essay. So you've pretty much done the homework. It's just about emphasizing and articulating that pattern that you said in the essay as to why those specific courses and maybe even why the university. So it doesn't even have to be that the university is like a leader in the field. It could even be just because you really like the specific university, you like the history, you like the way it looks, you like where it's located compared to the other ones, and that's why you're choosing it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be specific academically based, but you can always just look at it holistically and say, I really like the university because I like the name, I like the credibility, it looks good on a CV, and that's why I'm choosing this one over the other two, for example.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Onkarabile. Very, very specific and good answer for this answer. So it's time to say goodbye. Oh, okay. One last question, because I promised you that we will answer all the questions. So Muhammad, go ahead, please. And this is last question, and you have my contact information, and you can ask me directly. Go ahead, please. And
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks a
go
lot. So
ahead.
I just have one question. Uh, so for particular questions like, when they ask why Chevening and how is it going to help you achieve your career goals, should that be answered just by mentioning more about why UK and the universities, or should we also mention some aspect about career goals as well?
So firstly, we emphasize a lot of time to listen the question. So if they ask why Chevening Scholarship, you have to be focused about Chevening, because Chevening is a brand. So Chevening is not like other scholarship. It's focused about your leadership, about our diversity group. We are from 160 countries this year and 1,500 scholars. So be specific and proud of the Chevening group, because like I met a lot of people from Erasmus or any other scholarship, but they have not this opportunity to have kind of back. So Chevening group for me is back to stay in other countries strong and have a someone like-minded you, because when you are like here we have our Chevening Charlie, we have our bag that we always wearing it. So even sometimes I don't know person, but when I see that they wearing the same like Chevening bag, I'm like, oh my God, you are Chevener. And like just this word is like magic and open the new contact and networking opportunity. So you have to proud about this, because other scholarship had not this kind of opportunity, and they made from the very beginning the summit for you to get to know each other. You have Paul and who make the meeting and made all of you together. But like what we done in Glasgow, I creating the group before we came here. So when I already been in Glasgow, I have in my WhatsApp group, I had a WhatsApp group. I wrote, oh, hey guys, we have to meet each other. We all are here. So you can use your networking skill and posting in the global Chevening chat and meet the people who are studying in the particular city when you will receive your answer. I hope that I cover your answer, and good luck, everyone. Daimel, you can text me directly, please, because I mentioned it's the last question. Thank you so much to be with us, and it was our last session. Thank you, girls, for your time, for your volunteering to share your experience with us. It was very interesting, and what I learned from this global mentorship organized to global mentorship session was like I met a lot of new Chevener, and all of them are amazing and unique. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to meet all of them and want to remember all of them. So guys, use all the chance you will have and trying to be next. If we done, you can do it because you're on this stage. So it's mean that you are also unique. Michelle, yes, we will add the recording today. Thank you so much, and see you next year.